temptation and issues in our world today are nothing new, friends. Because by the end of this craziness, Jacob winds up with 4 wives, 2 of them are sisters, and it's pretty much a mess. I heard one pastor call this whole thing birth wars. Because pretty soon, all 4 women start having kids, trying to outdo each other, until, at the end of it all, Jacob has a total of 13 children altogether. 12 boys and 1 girl. And as messed up as this story is, there's a part of me that wishes I could sit down with Leah, who felt so rejected and wanted approval so badly. And then sit down with Rachel, who was so frustrated and wanted to produce and achieve. The one who's unloved and the one who's unfruitful. And I'd want to say to them, I know that this is a mess, and I'm sure this hurts. Here's Jacob trying to manipulate others so he can feel strong. And Leah's so desperate for approval so she can feel strong. And Rachel's so desperate to achieve so she can feel strong. But I tell them, as much as this hurts and as much of a mess as it is, I want you to know God is still working. And he will ultimately bring blessing, even in this unexpected and painful circumstance. So if you are Jacob, he will bless you. And Leah, if you stop trying so hard to win the approval of others, you'll see that God will bless you. You'll discover that his love is enough. And Rachel, if you'll stop obsessing over what you don't have in life, this desire to achieve and impress, you'll discover that God will bless you. You'll discover you're more than what you can achieve or produce. See, none of these people got to see this in their lives. And what none of them realized is that even in this mess, God was at work through it all. As I said earlier, eventually Jacob winds up with 12 sons by these 4 women. And the names get confusing, but here are those 12 sons. There's Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. There's Gad and Asher. There's Joseph and Benjamin. And there's Dan and Naphtali. 12 sons in all. Now don't worry, there's not going to be a quiz. All right, you can relax. But I bring these names up because these aren't just any names. These 12 sons go on to become the 12 tribes of Israel. And God was doing even more. You see, Leah, the unloved wife, right? One of her kids was named Judah. And it was through the line of her son Judah that one day, many, many, many generations later, a little baby would be born to a young poor woman in a little backwoods town called Bethlehem. And they would name that little baby Jesus. That Jesus would go on to show all of the unloved and unchosen people of all time just how much God loves them. And that Jesus still looks at all those who feel unseen or unwanted or unloved, and he says, I love you. Leah, as rejected as she is, she becomes the great, however many times, grandmother of Jesus himself. And Rachel, this one who's so frustrated and so badly wants to achieve, she has a son named Joseph. And that Joseph goes on to achieve more than anyone ever dreamed possible, becoming the second most powerful person on the planet in his day, the prime minister of Egypt. And through his leadership, God saved the entire family from starving in one of the most severe famines the world has ever seen. Friends, if we could just get the big picture, that sometimes rejection is a blessing that teaches us about God's acceptance. And sometimes frustration is a blessing that leads us to depend on God, who is really the only one who can remember us. And out of that mess, God can still work in our lives, even when we don't always see it. You know what? This isn't the story that anybody expected. There's another pastor, John Ortberg, he once put it like this. In our day, the story goes like this. Boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl back. This story is boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl back, but it's her sister. Boy gets first girl, but second girl is devastated. Boy gets first girl's maid, boy gets second girl's maid. Everybody gets mad, and they all live squabbly ever after. This is not a story of human strength or virtue.